Niger's coup leaders announced plans to prosecute the ousted President Mohamed Bazoum for high treason.
Russia's central bank to hold an extraordinary meeting on Tuesday after the ruble hits a 17-month low. Spain determined to reach the Women's World Cup final for the first time as it faces off against Sweden in the semi-finals.
Niger's military that toppled Mohamed Bazoum has said it will prosecute the deposed president for treason. The announcement was made by a coup spokesperson on national television just hours after the junta said they were open to dialogue with West African nations to resolve the regional crisis.
En tout état de cause, le gouvernement nigérien a réuni à ce jour les éléments nécessaires de preuve pour poursuivre devant les instances nationales et internationales compétentes le président déchu et ses complices locaux et étrangers pour haute trahison et atteinte à la sûreté intérieure et extérieure du Niger suite à ses échanges avec les nationaux, des chefs d'État étrangers et des responsables d'organisations internationales.
Niger's democratically elected president was ousted by members of his presidential guard in late July. He's since been under house arrest in the capital Niamey. If found guilty, Bazoum could face the death penalty according to Niger's penal code. West Africa's ECOWAS regional bloc has ordered the deployment of a standby force and imposed economic sanctions, which the junta has denounced as illegal, inhumane and humiliating.
Russian main bloggers acknowledge that Ukrainian forces are maintaining a presence on the east bank of the Dnipro River in Kherson region, in contrast to previous Ukrainian raids. But the Institute for the Study of War does not yet assess that these positions constitute a bridgehead. Kremlin-affiliated mail bloggers claim that Ukrainian forces have established positions west of Kozachyi Lageri after several days of limited raids across the Dnipro River, adding that Ukrainian sabotage and reconnaissance groups continue to operate west of Kozachyi Lageri, but that the settlement itself is still under Russian control. The mail bloggers also claim that Ukrainian reconnaissance groups continue to operate near Antonivsky Bridge and further south of Kherson in the area of Hola Pristan and conduct raids across the Dnipro River. Continuing Russian claims that Ukrainian forces maintain a presence on the east bank of the Dnipro River suggest that Russian forces are concerned that Ukrainian forces have established semi-lasting positions across the river. The UK Defence Ministry says some of the operations both near Kozachyi Lageri and near Antonivsky Bridge and in the Hola Pristan area likely took advantage of a local Russian force rotation, and now Russian commanders face a dilemma on whether to strengthen this area or to deploy troops in the areas of Ukraine's main counteroffensive operations further to the east.
Journalists being taken to the trenches near Ukraine's ravaged eastern city of Bakhmut. Soldiers stationed here are trying to fight off Russian forces before the winter comes, while living in the trench to take cover from counterattacks. Kyiv claims to have made gains both here and in the south of the country in its grueling counteroffensive against Moscow. Captured by the Russians in May after months of bloody fighting, it's now Moscow's troops who are on the defensive in the city. Elsewhere, the southern port city of Odessa was hit by 2 waves of attacks overnight, the latest bombardment by Russia. Officials say over 200 buildings were damaged in the strikes. Kyiv says it intercepted the drones and rockets, but structures were hit by falling debris. And in the southern Kherson region, a 23-day-old girl was among the 7 people who died in Russian shelling on Sunday. Kherson is one of the regions Moscow claimed to have annexed last year. Although Ukraine has reclaimed the western part, Russian troops continue to shell the area. Russia, meanwhile, held its annual military forum on Monday, during which a new cluster missile, banned by over 100 countries, was unveiled. Addressing participants via video link, President Vladimir Putin said the event would help strengthen military cooperation for the benefit of security and stability in what he described as the emerging multipolar world. Russians are bracing for higher prices as the ruble falls against both the dollar and the euro. It's been steadily losing value since the start of the year, and on Monday morning dropped below the psychologically important level of 100 to the dollar. But it made gains later after the central bank said it would meet on Tuesday to discuss the level of its key interest rate.
Цены также вырастут, значит, и уровень жизни упадет. Он уже упал. Еще больше упадет. Все как бедных становится больше. Это однозначно.
The most fundamental factor is the structural change in Russian economy. So the demand is now driven by state expenses via wider military industry complex. Here, I mean, not only enterprises which are working on the war, but also the very extensive part of the civil sector.
The central bank blames the currency slide on a drop in export volumes and growing internal demand for imports. A Kremlin official on Monday admitted that a weak ruble negatively impacted people's real incomes, but said the currency is expected to bounce back shortly.
A senior Swedish official has said on Monday that Swedes abroad and businesses linked to the country should, quote, observe increased vigilance and caution following a recent string of Quran burnings that sparked protests in the Muslim world. Sweden has also ramped up security at its borders.
Sverige har gått från att vara ett legitimt mål för terrorattacker som ett bland alla andra västerländska länder till att vara ett mer prioriterat mål för den här typen av terrorattacker. Även nu under sommaren har ju både Säkerhetspolisen och regeringen kommunicerat att vi befinner oss i ett allvarligare säkerhetsläge nu än vad vi gjorde för, säg, ett drygt halvår sedan.
On Sunday, the UK's foreign ministry warned its citizens travelling to Sweden of possible terrorist attacks. And it added that Stockholm has already disrupted planned events and has made arrests. Some 20 people, including 4 children, have been rescued from a crowded sailboat off the coast of Greece and taken to the port of Rhodes. 2 men, a 44-year-old and a 48-year-old, were arrested on suspicion of trafficking. Greek authorities are now investigating the possible involvement of the suspects in other cases, as well as their collaboration with members of organised networks engaged in similar criminal activities. Hundreds of migrants have been rescued from small boats in Greek waters over the past few days.
Lava flowing down the slopes of Mount Etna on the Italian island of Sicily. The volcano erupted on Sunday evening, and although the lava flow had subsided before dawn, ash was still coming down from one of the craters on Monday. As a result, all flights to and from the airport and the nearby popular tourist destination Catania have been cancelled until the evening. The city has also banned the use of motorcycles and bicycles for the next 48 hours because many streets are covered in ash, and ordered cars to drive no faster than 30 kilometers per hour. Mount Etna is the highest active volcano in Europe.
A town buried in mud, Bardonecchia in Italy, was hit overnight by torrential floods and a landslide that caused consequent damage and forced some 120 people to flee their homes. Italy's Fire and Rescue Service released images of the mudslide that swept through the Alpine town. 6 people were rescued by the fire brigade after their camper van was swept away by water and mud. Italy has recently been affected by several extreme weather events, including devastating wildfires. Central and eastern Bohemia in the Czech Republic experienced severe thunderstorms with torrential rains and hail during the night. The regional fire department received dozens of reports overnight of fallen trees obstructing roads and flooded houses. As of 5 a.m. on Monday morning, firefighting teams had already carried out more than 30 operations to deal with the storm's aftermath.
Croatia is reporting record levels of traffic as tens of thousands of vehicles descend on the popular vacation destination. In the port city of Split, officials reported 90,000 ferry passengers and 17,000 vehicles over the weekend. Traffic jams along the country's principal highway, leading from the capital Zagreb to the Adriatic coast, were up to 7 kilometres long. In Switzerland, queues at the Gotthard Tunnel reached up to 8 kilometres, half the length of the tunnel. a popular route to Italy and the resorts of southern France.
Spain and Sweden are set for a showdown. In a highly anticipated match, the two sides will lock horns at Eden Park on Tuesday for a place in the Women's World Cup final. Spain is determined to make history by reaching the showpiece game for the first time. They'll be up against a tough Swedish side, eager to maintain its momentum after defeating former champions USA and Japan. It'll be Sweden's fifth semi-final appearance, but Spain's offensive form could be the key to overcoming its solid defence.
The winners will face one out of England and Australia in the final. The hosts have had an unforgettable competition. Their quarter-final victory against France on penalties, the most-watched TV event since way back at the 2000 Olympics. The Matildas have captured the hearts of their nation, but before the attention turns back to them, the eyes of the footballing world will be on both Spain and Sweden in Auckland. Whatever happens, we will be seeing a new name on this FIFA Women's World Cup trophy. Sam Ashu for Euronews in Sydney.
Paris Saint-Germain has agreed a deal to sell Brazilian forward Neymar to Saudi Pro League side Al Hilal. According to reports, the 31-year-old has agreed to a 2-year deal for a fee set to reach €90 million plus add-ons. Neymar, who left Barcelona to join PSG for a world record transfer 6 years ago, was not part of coach Luis Enrique's plans for the next season. Neymar has made 173 appearances for the French club, helping them win 13 trophies, including 5 League One titles. He will join the likes of Benzema, Mané, Kante, Mahrez and Ronaldo in the Saudi Pro League.